What's up, you guys? It's Marco. So we all know by now that the housing market is, well, pretty stupid. But anyways, we all know that home prices in the country have just gone up like crazy. In fact, they have gone up a whopping 24% since last year, back in 2020. Meaning that if you bought a $500,000 home back in 2020, that same home right now will be worth somewhere around $620,000 if I did my math right. And if so, well, you know what? Good for you. Now, at the same time, if you decided to just wait for home prices to collapse because, well, COVID, then I guess you get the point now that actually never happened. But anyways, if you didn't FOMO into buying a house through the summer this year, fighting to get the same house as maybe 100 other people out there, and then finally ending up just getting outbid on each and every one single of them, then great news for you, because things may actually be getting a lot better if you're looking to buy a home right now towards the end of 2021. So today we'll be talking about what in the world is going on in the housing market, why are things starting to sort of flip for the benefit of the home buyers, and why our property prices are still going up despite of everything that's happening. And then finally, is this still a really good time to buy a house, or if you should just hold it off until next year, or maybe just finally never. But before getting started, just one quick little reminder regarding the like button issue. Guys, these videos take an awful amount of work to put together, and I will highly appreciate that you turn that button blue or whatever color it is nowadays if you find this video helpful. And honestly, the best news is, well, it's free. So if you did that already, I appreciate it. And if you didn't, that's okay too. Either way, let's go ahead and get started into the video now. All right, so we pretty much know that home buyers have been screwed since about June of last year, when everybody just decided to rush to the burbs and buy a 4 to 5 bedroom house. Now, this is especially true for those thousands of would-be first-time home buyers. Now, fact of the matter is that nobody really anticipated home prices to blast off the way they did, but obviously they did. Now, this meant that unless you had a bag like Mr. B's, then your odds of you buying a house were pretty much slim to none, especially towards the beginning of this year, where things just got pretty much insane. Yes, in fact, purchases of home actually dropped by more than 2% this month compared to last month, and the supply of homes is expected to increase heading into 2022, which will help control prices and obviously give an opportunity to new buyers to come back in the market. In fact, new data from Realtor.com shows that the number of homes available for sale inched up by 5.7% in August, and this follows an 8.8% and a 10.4% inventory gains respectively in June and July, since bottoming out this spring, and inventory is actually up by 30%. But let's just get some of this boring data and numbers out of the way and do the fun stuff that everybody loves doing, like browsing through listings on Zillow, where we can see the endless price decreases across almost every market in the country, like this house in Boston that's price cut on $50,000, or this house in Miami that has a price cut of $40,000. And what about this little house in Boise, Idaho with a price cut of also $50,000? Now, I love gauging the market this way because it tells me that if multiple properties are spending more and more days on the market and there are price decreases as well, then basically demand is obviously dropping considerably. So anyways, why is inventory rising so much right now? Well, honestly, a lot is going on, and some of it really is just simply home buyers having enough of this market and finally pushing back and deciding that basically sending 40 offers like this couple just isn't healthy, and then still be getting outbid by $1 million just make things a lot worse. Now, the second thing is that current homeowners are seeing these crazy home prices, and they're deciding that they should probably just join in the action and cash in on these desperate home buyers. You know what they say, when everybody's trying to buy, well, just sell. While at the same time, we're coming across a time of the year when the housing market just historically cools down. Kids go back to school, holidays are around the corner, and people just want to travel and vacation a little bit more often. And maybe just with the Delta variant sort of just kind of topping out, maybe vacations and travel is going to pick up a lot more towards the end of the year, where basically, you know what, most families would just say, we can just sort of hold off selling our house or buying a house until the beginning of next year. And now finally, my favorite personal one is mortgage rates are finally rising. Now, I have been one of those people who have said since last year that to slow down the housing market, rates simply have to go up. Because fact of the matter is that the difference between a 2.75 30-year loan versus a 3.75% on a $400,000 mortgage is about $220 a month. And that's a significant difference for a lot of families. Now, but alright, does this really mean that the housing market is going to crash? Well, according to this one prediction, it will in about 5 years. 78% of community bank executives predict the housing market will crash at some point in the next 5 years, according to a survey published Wednesday by software firm Mentel, that's actually pretty cool, and Wakefield Research. Now, inflation plays also a huge part, and inflation is not just here to stay, but rather gets worse. Then the economy just simply won't be able to support home prices increasing by double digits while payrolls stay the same or just modestly increase because, well, honestly, the cost of living gets more expensive, money erodes in people's bank accounts, and then finally everything collapses. At which point you wish you would have bought Bitcoin at 57,000 and Shiba Inu at 0.00002. What the But honestly, that's the doomsday scenario. In the short term, the housing market simply isn't going to be collapsing in the next year or even in the next couple of years, even if more foreclosures are hitting the markets as the mortgage bailouts are ending. And I know a lot of people are waiting for a wave of foreclosures to start happening, but that's really unlikely because mortgage lenders and banks are going to do loan modifications and they're going to help people to actually stay in their homes. Nobody really wants to see a bunch of foreclosures. That's not really good for the banks. And obviously this is going to be for all those people who are coming out of the forbearance programs. And at the end of the day, why would anybody in their right mind just give up their homes with a ton of equity in it? I mean, why would he walk away from it when he can just list it on the market? Now, actually, according to the majority of the industry's forecast, we're going to be experiencing slower growth, albeit still positive. Now, the weakest projection comes from real estate research firm CoreLogic, which is just forecasting a 2.7% appreciation in the coming 12 months. Freddie Mac projects home prices to grow at 4 or even 5.3% respectively in 2022. And the bull case scenario comes from Zillow, which projects an 11% increase in property prices in 2022. So yeah, that's still not good news if you're buying a house, but take it as a win because 5% or even 11% is a lot better than 24%. But listen, fact of the matter is that there are still a lot of factors for which the housing market is still going to get pushed up by other factors. And honestly, personally, and I think is the biggest one, is that we're actually in a 5-year period during which the largest amount of millennials, and those are basically born between 1989 and 1993, and I'm going to put myself in that category. I'm from 88, so I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze into 1989. But anyways, all of us are hitting our 30s, and this is just the age where basically first-time home buyer really kicks into the gear because people get married, people have kids, and obviously we're wanting to expand and just have our families. And that's sort of the cycle of home ownership in America. So anyways, there you have it. At the end of the day, people really just need a roof over their head. And unfortunately, now many people are finding themselves asking whether they should just suck it up and buy an expensive house or simply pay the highest amounts of rent ever. My guess is the majority will just want to own a house instead. And if you're in this boat and you're considering buying a house right now towards the end of 2021 or even next year in 2022, this is what you gotta do. The first thing is that you gotta get your credit scores as high as you can. Over 700 if possible. The reason why is because it's going to give you a better chance of qualifying for a conventional loan. Otherwise, you're gonna have to be getting a government loan like an FHA mortgage, which isn't a bad idea, but the odds of you winning a house is going to be a lot more difficult with a government loan versus a conventional mortgage. Now, second, save as much money as possible because even though you may be able to qualify for a low down payment program, like say something around 3%, the fact of the matter is that, to win a house nowadays, you may actually have to bid a little bit more than whatever the seller is asking for. You see, guys, when you're buying a house, the lender will do an appraisal on the property. And if the house doesn't appraise, then you are going to have to cover that gap if you just want to keep the house, or otherwise you just may have to walk away from it. Now, obviously, this is not necessarily the market to be thinking about getting a down payment assistance or one of those government handouts. So get your stuff in a row, put as much money in the bank right now so that you can have a lot of money for your down payment. And if you need it, then whatever, you have it. If you don't need it, then awesome, you still have it. Now, finally, pay down as much debt as you can. And I'm talking about basically unsecured debt, because remember that credit cards, loans, I mean, basically anything unsecured is going to have a higher APR than a home loan. And if anything, having low interest debt like a mortgage is in a way a hedge against inflation. Rates are still at historic lows, and it definitely is a good opportunity if you find the right house. So there you guys have it. That's basically what is happening right now towards the end of 2021 in the housing market. I do expect these prices to continue to go up, just not as crazy as they've been. Now, one other little thing that I wanted to leave you guys with, if you're looking to buy a house right now, is just don't be afraid to submit an offer and getting rejected, okay? You always want to have or give yourself your ability to actually get an offer accepted. So do what they call a backup offer. And that's basically meaning that submit offers. If somebody gets the house, they're just going to go under contract, but you have a backup offer for the seller. And listen, right now, I'm seeing it all across is that, you know, the deal might die, or maybe that one buyer that wanted to buy the house just simply walks away from the house, and the seller now is desperate. They have this one house that they have to sell because they're looking to buy another one, and the first person that they're going to consider is going to be whoever put that backup offer for. All right, so there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching the video. And one last thing, guys, creating this content honestly is kind of difficult. So if there is anything that you want me to talk about, just put in the comment box below. Any questions, just put them in the comment box below so that I can just make a video about it and then tell you guys, okay, well, this is kind of how you do it. So that's basically it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.